So recently I gave an interview for a SDE-1 position as a front-end engineer in a company which I cannot name. And in the round two, they asked me this JavaScript question. So first, let me explain the question. So we have to make a calculator where we can call them like this. So this calculator will have two operands and two operators. The two operands are 1 and 2. The two operators are plus and minus. So what happens is, like, if we are calling it like 1 dot plus dot 2 dot equals, so 1 plus 2 equals is 3, which is correct. Now, so whenever you see an equal call which is at the end, then it will return the number, right? It will return the sum. So in the second example, we have 2 plus 2 equals 4, which is correct. Now here is the tricky one. So 1 minus 2 equals 9. So whenever there are no operator between two operands, then two or more operands, then treat them as like a string concatenation. Like 1 will become 11, 1 2 3 will become 123. So here 11 minus 2 equals 9, which is correct. And finally we have 2 1 2 plus 2 minus 1. So which is 212 plus 2 is 214 and minus 1 is 213, which is the output. So I hope you understood the question. I'll be writing the code. So first we will write a constructor for this, which won't take any arguments. And what I'm gonna save is an queue, which I will call the operation queue, which will be an array. And then I will make the operands method. So one will be, so what we are doing is we have to push one into the operation queue when one is called, right? So for now I'll be calling this as push to queue. So now, and I will pass one. We haven't written the push to queue method yet, but we will write it later. For now, just understand the logic I'm going for. And then we will return this. The reason we are returning this is so that we can chain them like this, right? So now 2 would be same, right? Because for 2 also we are doing, also what we are doing is just pushing to the operation queue, right? Now plus would be pretty simple, so it will be just this dot operation queue dot push plus and return this. Now why we didn't do the this dot operation queue dot push with 1 and 2? Because of our this edge case where we have to handle it like we have to make it 11 or 203 if there are no operator between them, right? So now finally for the minus one, I will just do this dot operation queue dot push minus as a string. Yeah, and finally return this. Did I forget to return this? Yeah, I forgot to return this here also. Now finally I'm just gonna write the push to queue method. Now why did I put an underscore between this push to queue method and not any one of them? Because it is a convention that if there is a internal method in a class, then in a class or a function constructor, then just make their first letter underscore so that it shows the other developers that this is an internal function and it shouldn't be accessed out of this class like we are accessing the 1 plus 2, right? So now for the push to queue logic, what we are gonna do is first I need the length of the queue, this dot operation queue dot length, because I'm gonna access it multiple times. So instead of writing this dot operation queue dot length every time, I'm just taking out the length in a variable now. And finally, I also want the last item so that I don't have to write a long code every time, right? So this dot operation queue last item. Okay, sorry, not last item. Sorry, not last item. It would be length minus one. Yeah, and we forgot to take a number in the argument, so I'm just making it as num. It will be 1 or 2 depending on the method called. So now we have to write the logic of pushing that num to the operation queue. So first what I'm gonna check is that if length is 0, which means the operation queue is empty, then we can just push the number to the operation queue, right? So this dot operation queue dot push num. The other thing is we can also push the num directly if the last item of the operation queue is an operator. So I'm gonna just add the checks here. If last item equal to plus or minus, then directly push it. And the main edge case logic will be in the else case, right? So if the length is not 0 and the last item is not an operator, then the last item is a number, right? So what we are gonna do is we're gonna make this dot operation queue length minus 1. So we are overwriting the last number, and we are gonna just concatenate it with the new number. So I'm gonna write last item, and after that we are just gonna put our num. It would be 1 or 2, right? And since we are storing numbers and not strings, what I can do is course it. Okay, so I think our operation queue is ready. Now the final piece of the puzzle is the equals. What this will do now, after everything is pushed to the operation queue, we are just gonna calculate the sum and return it. So I will take a sum which should be 0 initially, and I will also take a current operator, right? Current operator which will be plus by default. Now why plus as default? Because let's see for this operation, right? So this one includes a minus 1, right? So what will happen until this is in the, so this is in our operation queue. So when we loop over it, first we receive 11, right? Then the current operation by default is plus, so it will add it to the sum, which will make it 11. Then in the operation queue we will receive minus, so we will update the current operator to minus, right? Then we will receive the second value, which would be 2. So then what we will do is check, okay, if the current operator is minus, then we will just minus it from the sum. We will subtract it from the sum, which will 11 minus 2 will give us 9. So this is the logic I'm going for. So for let item of this dot operation queue, I'm just calling it item because it could be an operator or an operand, so it would be weird if I call it a num. So now first what we will check is if item is an operator, right? And that we can do using the plus and item equal to minus. So if they are an operator, then what we are gonna do is just update the current operator to item. Now we will, okay, so now we will check for the minus case. So if current operator is negative, so if current operator is minus, then we will do sum minus equal to item, and else case would go for plus. Like by default the current operator is plus, so it will, what we are gonna do by default is sum plus equal to item. We are just gonna add it, and item won't be a operator because we made sure here in this if case, if the item is an operator, then just update the current operator and don't do anything. Finally, we are just gonna return sum here. We are not gonna return this, like, because after equals we are not gonna uh, chain other methods. It is just going to return the evaluation. So now let's me check if it works. Okay, so I found a bug by just seeing, and let me just show you the bug. So if I run this, okay, so I'm not logging it, so let us log it also here, just for the sake I don't have to like write console log in every line. Yeah, so 325 232 minus 1977, right? So here it worked, here it failed, here it also failed, or here it also failed. Do you know why? Because this calc is the same object, right? We are doing this operation on the same object, and we are not updating the queue after equals, right? So the operation queue also contains operations of previous calculations. So that's why it contains 1 plus 2, right? So then 1 plus 2 2, 1 plus 2 2 becomes 22 plus 2, right? So 1 plus 22, which is 23, plus 2, which is 25, so that's why it is returning 25. Okay, so what we have to do is after every equals method call, we will just this dot we will just reset the operation queue, right? So now if I run this, mm, 3 4 9 2 1 3, 3 4 9 2 1 3, which is the correct output. Now this code will be available as a link in the description, so you can check it out. Please also comment your code if you tried this before my solution and you got the success. If you have any questions, you can ask also in the comment. And finally, please subscribe and like. Thanks for watching finally. Goodbye.